what's going on, guys? Welcome back to a brand new episode of TheBotTalk. In episode 27, I'm sitting down with Eddy from MEC and MEG Notify. It's a very interesting episode. We go into the Chinese culture, how his company and his partner has impacted that culture. Overall, the episode is really good. I really did enjoy it. A couple of things I want to preface before we get into today's episode. Last week was the restock. We had Alias from OneBot for episode 26, and I had some pointers on Twitter. Some people reached out to me and actually told me that they couldn't understand what I was saying. I was talking too fast. So for any restocks within this episode, which is MEC and MEG Notify, towards the end of the video, I will go ahead and explain the system like last episode, but also put on some visual representations on the screen so you guys can match my voice and what I'm saying to the system I decide to go ahead and go with. Once again, these restocks are limited compared to how many people in the live stream. Some of these live streams hit 3,000 viewers, so just please keep that in mind. Please enjoy the episode, listen carefully to what we talk about, and I hope you guys enjoy the episode. So guys, like I explained in the beginning, we have Eddy from MEG on TheBotTalk. It's going to be an amazing episode. It's a live premiere, so I'm going to talk to all you guys in the chat right now. Let me know what you think of the episode. We're going to be talking about Eddy, we're going to talk about MEC we're going to talk about MEG Notify, and then restocking both products at the end of the live premiere, so stay tuned for that. But let's jump straight into this. The first question we ask all our guests on the show: how did you discover reselling?
So I discovered reselling through one of my friends around 2 years ago, and he introduced me about Supreme. And I think by the time Supreme already has like a very big market in China, so it kind of like, and I think it's really like a good looking brand, and it's got really interesting to me. So I started to dig into it and find, I think, more about the culture, like, and the brand, and also definitely about reselling. So yeah, that's how I first discovered reselling.
Yeah, most guests do flock towards the brand. They like how it looks, they like the resellability of it. Obviously there's loads of money within this market, but what motivated you to continue to resell?
I think is that I want to become financially independent, and just want to do something special and something that I really enjoy doing. Also, I also think it's a good way to meet a lot of people, and just try to make lots of bonding with other like guys who has like similar interests with me.
Yeah, definitely. This community is very wide. It's a worldwide community. Everyone in this community meets each other. Networking is a good thing we've talked about on TheBotTalk before. And also creating, like you said, financial independence. Like, I feel like if you've been very successful with botting, or even decently successful, you do make more money than what 9 to 5 people make typically when you're a young age. And I feel like that is one of the most dominant reasons to continue to resell. But with everyone's reselling journey, they always go from being a manual user to a bot. How was that like for you?
It's kind of like a natural process. Once I get in touch with Supreme, and I got in touch with more people who try to purchase Supreme, and this like the bot thing just come like naturally into my site, and I was just starting to get first I was just curious about how things work, because I've never heard of it at first. And then I was like, well, like maybe it really at first I thought maybe it really increase my chance of getting like the items that I want. So yeah, that's how I go from like a manual user to bot. And I think I also think it's more like a trend, because bot is kind of easy to use and it saves time. Also, it gives you more like flexible schedule for you to arrange your daily schedule, and it's also like an interesting thing to use. Like you get to explore it for a bit, and yeah, that's how I got into botting.
Yeah, loads of those reasons do resonate with loads of views, I'm pretty sure. As humans, as times developed, as age developed, we've created technology to make our lives easier, and that in a way is what botting is. You don't want to manually go through the site and get these items. You want to maximize your profit and your success. That's what a bot does. The bot does that across multiple cards. It allows you to maximize your success and find loopholes in the system to essentially get more items. And I feel like people do flock towards that just because there's loads of money in it. It's enjoyable if you definitely know what to do, and you can secure those items that you really like.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's like that's like one of the huge reasons that why people do botting, because yeah, it does like get you the chance to just kind of make more money, and with like less work and more possibility to get more items.
Yeah, touching on that subject, like you said, you were a manual user and you went to being a botter when getting into the community and meeting people. What were some of the first releases you ever bought?
I think one of like the first um, biggest release that I've ever bought is the BOGO hoodie from the for winter 2017. And for shoes, it's like the Easy Blue Tint for the Easy Blue Tint. It's like around 2 years ago. I think that's when I first got into reselling and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah, those releases were quite memorable. They were kind of big, and I feel like your first ever releases with botting is definitely memorable. Me personally, I remember all the first releases I went for. I feel like any botter does just because of the fact that it is the first time you go for it, especially if you succeed. If you succeed your first time with botting, it's kind of like a adrenaline rush because you're like, whoa, this actually works. I can make money, and that kind of acts as a catalyst for the rest of your
Yeah,
botting.
it's like a special feeling because it's nowhere it's nowhere like your regular way of purchasing items on internet. It's just like trying to use like a machine wise stuff to just like buy things for you, and it's a really fun experience.
Now that we've developed a basis behind Eddy's reselling history, how he got into reselling, how he got into botting, let's move on to MEC Preem. How did you come up with the name MEC?
Oh, it's actually a fun story about our friend. We're actually trying to start a company around July last year, and then so we have three founders of our whole company, and at that time we were just like trying to come up with a cool name after we got out from our old company. And we just keep brainstorming because coming up with like a cool name isn't really like our stuff, because we trying to because what we are trying to do is to try to create a name that I think all English speakers will remember. It's not only for like the Chinese audience. So we spent a lot of time on the name, and then we finally came out with Mac, because it's like the one of the first letter of each of our name, for Mike, Eddie, and Cal. So it's MEK. And then it also have another meaning, which is make everyone cook. So that's I think it's a really good meaning, and that's what we were just trying to do, make everyone cook. So yeah, that comes in Mac, and it's short, it's easy to remember, and yeah, it's a like a I'm pretty surprised that we can come up with a name like that.
Yeah, I feel like when you're starting a business, anyone who's been in that mindset before, like when I had to create TheBotTalk, for example, you have to create a name that is either short or is memorable. It needs to stick out, it needs to be unique. And I feel like you've done that very successfully with MEC, because what that's allowed you to do is essentially, when we moved on to the MEC Preem section, the reason why I said MEC, some people might pick me out for that, is because from my understanding, MEC is the company, and then you've got MEC Preem and then MEC Notify, and I feel like that name allows you to expand into different.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, we can. Yeah, we have another products that's coming out later, so it's definitely a good foundation for like a represent of our company.
Yeah, and touching on the name section, I feel like there's a lot of bots in the community that are subjective towards one dedicated site. So like you have random bots, I'm not gonna name any, but you have like insert name here, Preem, and it kind of restricts them to only Supreme. And I feel like bots that do a good way of developing their name as a company, it
Mhm.
allows them to move into multiple different scenarios. Like for example, Mech is a bot, and then within the same company they move to a group, and I personally feel like not a lot of companies within the community do that. However, the ones that
Mhm.
do are pretty successful.
I also think this is like a trend nowadays, and lots of groups are looking to partner out with bots, and usually they work fine together because for bot they need like experienced user to increase their success, and for groups they need bots for them to like make more users to join, and also to get them like a bigger reputation inside the community. So I think it's a like a mutual beneficial thing at the end of the day. And I think yeah, it does take it does take some time though. So yeah.
Yeah, I definitely do think all the best things in life do take time, and I feel like this definitely did pay off. But it kind of moves really nicely into the next thing I did want to talk about. We've talked about you being a manual user, we've talked about you being a bot and going for these releases, you've explained your justification. But what inspires you to create a
So this is more of my questions than mine. So for me, I what I was thinking is we want to be able to provide a stable service, like a stable service. Mike also told me that he got into reselling Supreme by he just because Mike is a how do you say that he he loves dancing and he just kind of get into um like clothes like streetwear when he learns how to dance, and then he's just also trying to buy Supreme. So some of his friends asked him to write him a bot because Mike is a developer. So he just tried to do like a script. That's where it first came from. So um, just from a script and then kind of go into a bot, and then um, one of the other reason is also I think Supreme Bot, like also like just in general, bot has like a lot of exposure in China, and lots of Chinese users are trying to buy bots in like for example from a lot of the US company, and we think maybe it's the time to change, like maybe we should have our own bot. Maybe Chinese people can use their own bot to try to just purchase their item. And that's also one of the inspiration that we have for MacPrint when it first came out.
Yeah, I definitely do feel like some of the reasons do resonate with other developers and owners we talk to on the bot talk. Like for example, just to name one, Z3, who's from F3, he came onto the podcast and he did mention that he first created a script that developed into a bot, and he kind of
Mm-hmm.
went from there, and he didn't really see the business part of it at first. But
Mm-hmm.
obviously, he had a passion in coding, he created it, then it became a business. And touching on one point you didn't mention, in China, I definitely do see when I was first working for a couple of companies, I would sell all my copies to Chinese people just
Oh,
because of
really?
the fact that, yeah, because
Cool.
price wise, they were willing to pay a high price compared to
Yeah,
US and UK people
yeah,
just because they wanted a bot.
yeah.
So I feel like that does work better. But obviously, with you resignating from China, giving Chinese people a bot and also making it available to US and UK people and people across the world in general.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Because I think Chinese people have less exposure to Twitter and stuff, like what's really inside the community. It's hard for them to get to just try like truly understand what's happening, and that's I think that's the reason that they usually pay higher prices, because they don't really know about the market, don't really know about like how bot works, and they're willing to learn. That's why that's also one of the reasons that we try to create like a bot for all these users, like newcomers for in this community. Yeah.
Now, one thing I did want to talk about when creating a bot, it's very important to think what sites do you want to support? Why did you decide with creating a bot that supports Supreme versus a Shopify based bot or Adidas based bot?
Yeah, because I think at that time we didn't know too much about Shopify. We just knew kind of Supreme, because Supreme definitely have like larger crowd in China than Shopify, and I think also Mike doesn't have like a good teacher like to him, so we kind of just and he also has like a 9 to 5 work to do. So we were just thinking about we should start from like a easier website, and we've been dealing with Supreme for like a long time, since we use our scripts and like manual. And also I think the drop time every Thursday, it just gave us like chances to breathe, and to also like for us to just catch up with all the previous work that we've left behind. And I think the schedules really helped us. And like while while we are doing a lot of work, it's also not putting too much pressure on our side.
Yeah, I definitely do think back in 2017, 2018, before Pookie in general, when creating a Supreme bot, it was easy compared to a Shopify bot. I know some people that are watching that episode didn't bot before Pookie, but before Pookie, this security solution that Supreme has, obviously I'm not a developer, so I don't know a huge thing about it, but obviously I know its abbreviation. When it got introduced, it took a lot more of developing into these bots to make them successful. That's where you saw a lot of bots just drop off the radar, but obviously Mekpreem has done a good job with overcoming that and then becoming one of the most dominant bots in the community.
I think I'm answering from Mike's perspective, and he always told me about it. And I think from the early days, after Supreme started, um, like the Pokey and stuff, it's getting a lot harder than it used to be. So we just changed it from like iOS shortcut script into the desktop. I think, but for us, one of the mistake that we made is to try to push out the bot before like a good amount of beta time. So it just kind of led to like one of the biggest, like we've been failing on the side for straight like 3 weeks. So it's really like a big pressure for us because a lot of people are complaining about our products. And like I think you know better than us what happened when if if a bot is not working throughout a drop and people start complaining about like people start doubting your products. And I think that's one of the biggest difficulties that we've encountered. But so after that, Mike started to get into headless mode, and that's when we started to get success. So I think the early days are pretty hard, and but I'm really glad that we got through it. So yeah.
Yeah, I definitely do think perseverance is one of those elements that a business needs to have. The CEO needs to have it. The head managers, the developers in this case, need to have it to push through and create a product, because having a company within this community that sells copies to people and also is a desirable bot. I know a lot of people that in the chat right now want this bot, and that's why they're here partly. But this company is a desirable bot. And I feel like to get to that position and to persevere through all the difficulties and basically take all the criticism on the chin requires a skill, and I feel like you guys have mastered that very well over at MEC, and a lot of other companies do that, and that's why those companies are at the top compared to other bots that drop off or don't go anywhere at the start. Now, we've talked about the early development stages, what direction you decide to go in. However, jumping to present, what are some of the positive and negative effects of running a big company like MEC?
There's definitely like the good sides and bad sides. So about positive effects, we do have more reputation in this community, and like lots of Chinese people are proud of us, and we also make like a good foundation for our future business, like all the fields that we are trying to expand in the future. It's a really good foundation and bring us like huge audience for our brand. I think that's some of the positive sides of the story. And then at the other time, like I think at the same time, um, all the negative things is like when we flop on one of the weeks, like we'll get we'll get a lot of bad comments on us. And it's really like a lot of pressure. Not good. It's like, to be honest, sometimes we feel really tired when it's not like we're afraid of competition. It's just I think most of the people don't understand what it takes behind the scene. That's the process. And it also requires like a lot of traits for you to become like successful on the job. It's nothing like we only can do like as good as we can, and we also need to hope that the website doesn't get like too bad or like some other traits. So I think the negative sides it has just it's a lot of pressure, but at the same time I mean, a lot of pressure means that a lot of people are paying attention to your product. So it's also one of the good things we have. Yeah.
Yeah, it kind of resonates nice with the saying I do have on the show. It's called the trade-off, and essentially where
Yep.
you're trading positive traits for negative traits. Like you have
Mhm.
loads of people buying your product, they're paying attention, they want your product to do well, but at the same time, if it doesn't do well, then your product sinks. They bombard you with constant criticism and tell you that the bot doesn't work, you're not very good. And that does become demotivating at certain times. However, that is the trade-off at the end of the day. When you're
Mhm.
selling products, when you have a company that big in a certain position and able to make loads of money, I feel like if you just persevere like we talked about in the beginning and continue to push out updates for the product, it will all work out well.
Yeah, it will work out. It just I think it's just like what other people say, just like trust the process, and it's not going to be like that definitely takes time, and it takes few years to get to the position where we are right now. So I'm pretty happy about where we are right now.
Touching on that, does the success of MEC have any effect on your personal life? And if so, in what way?
Oh yeah, definitely. It definitely brings me more connection in the community. Definitely led me to more successful people likewise, because when you have a successful product, you get to talk with a lot of other owners in this community, and you get to learn from them, and when you're chatting, like we always talk about what gets either our brand or their brand to where they were to where they are right now. And I think it's a really awesome learning process for me. And I also think that um, except like despite all the connection I made, it also just make me um, financially like more flexible on about, because I'm going on like college right now, so I don't have to um, ask for my parents for like that much money than before. And from I think from my partner's perspective, Mike also quit his like 9 to 5 work, and so he get to relax and not being that tired, because he also can make good amount of money from this. Being able to pay his rent in general is like a better life for us. So you definitely appreciate that.
Now, flipping the coin here, when MEC doesn't do so well, what do you tell yourself? What action do you take to keep yourself in a good mindset?
Because at the end of the day, we think that we know that we are capable of doing, like we are capable of making it a good product. So we just trying to tell ourselves that like we at the end of the day we'll get there. Like we'll definitely get there. It's just I think it's just like you have to take certain failures before success. And and Mike says that as like a developer, if he isn't confident about his product, he wouldn't have started this. So that also gives a lot of like courages to just try to keep moving and try to forget like the failures we have, just trying to focus on next drop and try to perfect our service.
Yeah, it links back really nicely to the perseverance element we were talking about at the beginning of the episode, where you just literally have to take everything on the chin. You know your capability, you know your caliber, and you know you can do well. Everyone in the community knows that. I feel like some users are blindsided by that. They feel like when they see unsuccess, they literally go straight to title or bot mark, try to sell the bot, get rid of it, when they
Mhm.
know deep down the bot can easily do well if it just gives it time.
Yeah, yeah. It's also about how you trust like the team, because we think we are like a really responsible team. We are not going to like give up on our user that easily. So I think it's like a mutual like if you trust the bot and you trust how responsible the developers are, and I think at the end of the day you'll get back what you invest in, I think.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like anyone that has bought a bot and has followed the guides, they've definitely made their money back. Like, excluding third party services where you buy bots for resale for like thousands of dollars, that's an exception. But if you were to buy this bot for its retail price, I definitely do think that you definitely make your money back from drops. If you just hit the right amount, you collect in the
Mhm.
right amount, you use the guides, you're still making your money back.
Yeah, yeah. It's even though it's like you're not immediately making your money back on first of the couple of drops, but also have to just understand it just naturally takes time, and it's just like a learning process for you.
Now, something I did want to talk about, what can the users from MechPrem expect when it comes to near drops in the future?
Oh, like they can definitely, um, I think it's like I think for now we're just trying to keep our current space, like current position in among other Supreme bot. We are we did very well on week one also, and especially in US. So for now we're just trying to make Supreme EU and Japan better, and also we are developing um, Shopify sites and other sites. It's also under work. So yeah, we just trying to be like the best out of the best. So yeah.
That fits really nicely about the business model we were talking about at the beginning of the episode, where you just want to strive for better. Like you guys mentioned, one of the last things I did want to talk about is what they're adding in the near future. But like they said, they're adding Shopify sites, they're focusing on Supreme EU and Japan. We all know that Mech cooks Supreme US, so it's good that they're persevering, pushing on. Now I want to move on to the next section of the episode. However, if you guys are in the chat right now and you guys want MechPrem, there will be an opportunity for you guys to secure yourself a copy for retail. So stay tuned. We're going to finish up the MEC Notify section. Then we're going to go ahead and explain the restocks for both products. But let's move on to MEC Notify. What inspired you to start MEC Notify?
Like I said, I think the one of the first reason that I was trying to start Mac Notify is because I realized there were a lot of users that's in China, like they wanted to learn about botting, they wanted to learn about reselling, but they just don't have the right resources. Like they don't have resources, they don't have the right way to get access to the right info. I still remember when I personally first started botting, I would just go on Cop Supply and search all the install cook groups one by one, and then just trying to trying to like search it on Twitter and just direct message them like if I can get into one of the groups. So it's a like a pain in the ass. So I don't want people to experience it again. And with all the resources I have, I think I'll be able to create like a good like a small community for people to learn about botting, um, to learn about a lot of things that they don't get chances to in China because it's really like the resources are really limited. So it just I think being able to teach all my members like the right way and the easy way to cook is has been motivating me to push out Mac Notify. And also after like we have a good audience on MacPrint. I also started like the English version of Mac Notify, like because we have a lot of English speakers fan and they want to get into the group, but they think language is one of the biggest barrier for them. So I think yeah, that's why I also started like a second like a Mac Notify EN for them to join to also to learn about like how our community is like.
Yeah, I definitely do think the main element I can definitely notice in here is that you're trying to give back to the Chinese people, and I feel like a lot of people can respect that, especially when their community definitely wants the same incentives that the US people and the EU people do have. And I feel like you're doing a good job at MEC of trying to leveling the playing field. But definitely starting MEC Notify was a good idea, just because every bot, there's two main elements to every bot. You have the bot and you have the information. I feel like without one or the other, it's kind of useless. If you have the information but you don't have a bot to capitalize on the information, then it's really useless. But if you have a bot without no information, then you're kind of stuck as well.
Yeah, that's what I talked about like at the beginning of the talk, and it's just like a trend because with cook gurus we have a lot of early info, and you have like the right staffs to teach you how to use the bot, but if you're just like a bot brand, you don't have like too much people to just trying to instruct you to use the bot.
Now that we've established a bit of an intro to MEC Notify, I want to talk about what are some of the positives you've seen so far from running.
Some positives is definitely seeing more people that got helped, and they also become some of the big chefs in this community, and that's something that I would love to see, because that's why I first started it. And I also met a lot of new friends that has also like, it's like my staffs, like they really help me a lot, and I also get to know, like, make more friends and know what they think in their real life. So it's like it's a pretty eye-opening experience for me.
Yeah, it links back to that idea of networking and obviously developing your name within the community. And I feel like if you're equipping people with the information and they're going out and they're cooking and getting all this attention because they're getting a lot of success, it's kind of like a proud feeling because you're creating that flow of success and you're allowing people to go ahead and gain loads of money for profits from these releases.
Yeah, it's a lot of opportunity to make more money, and just to try to just make some extra bucks when it's not like spending too much time of your daily life.
Now, flipping the coin here, what are some of the negatives you've seen so far from running MEC and Notify?
I think for me, it's just it's taking way too much time of my life, because it's kind of tiring to operate like a bot and a group at the same time. It just requires a lot of responsibilities, and a lot of dedication, lots of also personal time outside of school. So um, not gonna lie, I think about quitting like for a lot of time, and it's because it's like taking way too much time, and sometimes you like people won't understand. That plan doesn't like make any sense for them, and they'll still blame you for like a couple of small misses. So that's what really got me into like the negative sides. But at the end of the day, I think it's just like you have to fulfill your responsibilities, and once you chose to start something, you have to keep going, to have to finish it strong. That's kind of the mindset I have when I face all those negative.
Yeah, I definitely do think that's a good mindset to have because all the users listening to this, even if you were to quit, I feel like you seeing that you end off strong and you want to continue as long as you can, even with the challenges and even with how much time consumption it is. I feel like that is a good thing because people can go ahead and look at that and confidently invest in your company because they see that you want to continue pushing. You have moral grounds about how you run your company, and that is something definitely to look for when investing your money into a company. Now, what are some of the challenges you face when running MEC Notify?
Some of the challenges that I face. So I think one of the biggest challenges is just trying to consistently improving our service. Trying to become like one of the best in this community, because we have a lot of competition, no matter it's for bots or for groups. And nowadays there's like a lot of um, a lot of there's a lot of Chinese group that's coming out, and it's really like a good competition for us. And I also know there's a lot of access scams in this community. So but we are just trying to provide like the highest quality of the service that we have to all our members.
Yeah, I definitely do feel like competition entering the market is challenging. However, if you just succumb and you make it the best you can, then definitely consumers are going to invest in your company. But I do want to move on to another thing. When running a company as big as MEC Notify, you do bring in people to support with information, bot restocks, any type of information that you want to provide users in the group. What do you look for when you're looking to recruit people to MEC Notify?
For me, I just trust like one thing, which is I think it's their passion about reselling. Their passion about um, just to helping helping people to try to become better on like this certain field. Because people always say like if you're passionate about something, you're able to do it, like you're able to finish the thing really good. I just think that passion is like one of the ways that we have to find in like from our employers, because if you're not passionate about something, that people have to get on your ass to just ask you to do works, and that's what I like. That's the least thing that I want to see at the end of the day. So I always look for passionate people, passionate staff that they're trying to help. If they're trying to help, we will just give them the opportunity to provide, to just prove them what they have in the bag. So yeah, passion is one of the biggest thing that we've been continue looking in this community.
Yeah, I actually do think that is good, strong values you need to find in staff members if you want to bring them into your group. But finally, the final question of today's episode: what do you have planned for MEC Notify in the future?
We have a lot going behind the scene. We're now working on our app. It's like a app for free for all users, and we've been developing for like a long time, and we're looking forward to like push this out in probably next month or so. I can't say an exact day. So we're also looking like we're also waiting for Mac AIO, like the alpha state. It's going to start soon. So we have a lot of like things that we're trying to consistently improve for our members.
So guys, that was the episode with Eddy from MEC. I want you guys to go down below in the description, check out their socials. You will have the link to MEC Prem, MEC Notify and Eddy. Also links to Mike and Carl, which is the business partners he did refer to in the episode. However, we will be restocking MEC Prem and MEC Notify as we advertised in today's episode. We're going to take a little 1 minute break, then I'm going to come back and explain the system to you guys. It's going to be great. See you guys then. So guys, welcome to the restock part of today's BotTalk episode. Essentially, we are dropping 2 Discord invites, one for MEC Notify, one for MEC Prem. You guys need to really pay attention to what I say. There is a lot of confusion with these episodes, so please pay attention, take the time to listen to exactly what I'm going to say so you guys have the best chance of copying. So both services will be dropped through a Discord invite. That means MEC Notify, which is going first by the way, will be dropped in the Discord invite, and also MEC Prem will be dropped in the Discord invite. Just to quickly explain the video formation, after this quick little message, there's going to be a 3-minute restock countdown. Then the invite for MEC Notify is going to come up on the screen through the release method that I'm going to explain in a second here, and you guys will have 1.5 to 2 minutes to go and use the invite that will pop up on the screen. Then after that invite, make sure not to go anywhere. Another 3-minute restock countdown will come up on the screen, and that will be for MEC Prem. Now, like I mentioned, they are both Discord invites. However, the method I'm going to release the end part of the Discord invite. If you guys are unaware that at the end of Discord invites, there's a bunch of series of letters and numbers. Essentially, it's a method I've used on the BotTalk before. There's going to be a series of general questions that come up on the screen, and next to those questions, it will either say lowercase or uppercase to signify if it's an uppercase letter or lowercase letter. And also, if it's a question that requires a number answer, then obviously you guys put in the number answer. Please keep in mind reminder, each question signifies to one letter or one number. However, next to the question in brackets, I will preface whether it's a letter or number, whether it's uppercase or lowercase. And just to make it easier for you guys, I'm going to give you the first 3 letters / numbers of the Discord invite for both MEC Notify and MEC Preem at the top of the screen. Then all you have to do is answer the questions below, type that in and test your luck. Finally, the reason why I put these 3-minute countdowns in, so if you guys can review the system, you guys can figure out and make sure you know exactly what to do. So after this little message, there's going to be a 3-minute restock countdown. Then the MEC Notify invite is going to drop. That's going to stay on screen for 2 minutes, and then the restock countdown for MEC Preem is going to come up on the screen, and then the invite will go on there. I will be in the chat explaining all of this to avoid any confusion. Best of luck, guys.